What's up? You're gonna actually learn how to build now, so get ready for that. First things you want to know is you have to make a base. You can't make it simple, you can't make it square, you can't make it anything that makes sense. You gotta make a base, you gotta make it look good. Make it weird, make it whatever, don't make it simple. Put nooks, put crannies, put anything in there. As we come down, you'll see that the house, everything, the walls, it's basic, it's bland, it doesn't look good. It looks stupid. So to help with that, we texture. We put stuff in there that's makes it imperfect. The perfectness of the house does not make it look good. So to do that, we add in blocks that look similar, but not too similar, and different, but not too different, to make a texturized house. Show you that. As you can see with the wall, it's different. It looks textured, it looks like it should be there. Compared to everything else, it looks different and it pops. It looks natural compared to this. And now we'll do this on the same side, but we'll do it less because there's different types of texturing. You can do it heavy, you can do it light. You can do it any type of way you really want. This would be considered a light texturing. It's quite light and it looks generally. It depends on what you're doing to do it. So you got light on the right, heavy on the left. I'm cutting in a little bit later in the thing. We're doing the texturing for the entire side. What you have to realize is for the texturing, you can't make it too obvious. If you get what I'm saying, because you have to have a texture, you have to have a pattern of some sort, but it can't be a noticeable pattern. It has to be a random pattern. You can't make it like a lot of one object and then repeat that, because then it looks weird. So there's two types of texturing. There's heavy and there's light. Like, I mean really, really light. This is a heavy texture. This is meant to be poppy. It's meant to look like it's popping out. You can also do a lighter texture like I've done in my survival Minecraft build. Videos are on the channel. But you can make it look like so subtle that you won't even notice. You can't notice that there's actually something there from far away enough. It doesn't show, you can't see it. If you're close up enough, like when right there, you will see it, but right when you're flying away, you can't see. It looks like one block. Those are the two different types. Now for the floor. The floor generally is not important, but it can make or break the inside of a house. My personal preference, stripped spruce logs. They're just generally nice. What you can do with these things is you can do it straight and it'll make a generally nice looking flooring, not much wearing, but is a lot of logs. You can use other items as well. What you can do with a spruce as well, instead of making it straight, is you do a pattern of going side cross across. This can look good, but generally it is messy. If you really want to annoy someone, just put a sideways spruce log randomly in there. I wouldn't do that, but if you do. Now what you got to worry about right now is you got the floor built, you got your base built. Now you have to worry about what's happening inside that. Because you've built the base, but you got no light, you got nothing. The mobs are going to spawn and you are going to regret having a creeper in your basement. It's not nice. It's happened to everyone. So light it up. My personal preference, if you go into the redstone and you get the copper bulbs. Copper bulbs generally will look nice. And you just activate with a lever. Now that you're done the base, you can now build the main floor. You can do two things. You can push your house one block inwards or have it straight stack right on the edge. I recommend pushing it inwards because it creates this dynamic where you actually see a difference between the base and the main floor. This makes it look generally nicer, and you don't have to worry about it just being a flat face all the way up. It creates depth, it creates interest, it creates something that makes your build different from just a plain wall. Fact, contrast. I would recommend going in. If we were woods on wood, my personal spruce, I would recommend putting wood in every corner. This creates a dynamic where you actually have I'd recommend putting spruce logs, my personal favorite, in the corner of every corner on your building. It just looks nice. It defines the building. It creates a structural, it makes it make sense. If you think about it, this is basically like putting wood on every corner, and how they put it in the old European houses, not ancient, but old European houses, you have the wood in every corner. It makes it look symmetrical and makes it look nice. Now, that looks fine, but it's just not that right texture. So we're going to do the same thing where we did with the bottom. We're going to overcrowd it. We have a bunch of different things to just give it that idea of insaneness. You want it to look like a second grader designed this. And that's how it goes. It works well with that type of idea. This idea makes it contrast, but also, if you look at it from a decently far away decently far away, it looks and it combines and it matches well with the base. Let's do this all around. Before we go on with that, I would also recommend on the inside, every inside corner, also going up. This is also the same where randomness is key. If it's not random, it's not right. Because the lack of randomness in a build makes it look construction. Unless you're going for that look, it doesn't give off a proper sense of it doesn't look right. Because that looks like it makes sense. It's just random. It's also nice having blocks that kind of stick out if you're doing a chaotic pattern. Chaotic pattern would be these two. Most of the blocks in here, they kind of look the same, but they generally will stick out, and you like that. We always like that. It can be especially tough in these small gaps. If we look at it, and boom, right over there. It seems to stick out. If you just have two lined up, it's just going to stick out like a sore thumb. You want something that looks different. Like there, it's less sticking out, less pronounced. Now, the easiest way to not have to build a wall is to put windows. The more windows you have, the less you have to build. Or the less you have to pattern. For windows, there's a few things you can do. You can use panes, you can use glass, full blocks, or you can go empty. There's an idea to each of them. If you want something to still be covered but just have a nicer look and be easier to place, go with glass. If you want it to look better because it has more depth, more interest to it, go with paints. The downside is they're harder to place. So my recommendation is if you want a big open space to be filled, go with glass. Makes sense. But when you want these small individual windows, go with paints. It's the best option. As you can see, I filled most of the windows with paints. It generally, I gotta say, it looks better. It just does. This side's a little empty, but it's fine. Now we can take out these things. Let's fill that up. And put in these. But the problem with paints, reason they're a pain, is that you have to put in the in-between. You can't just make it a diagonal. That wouldn't work. You gotta go in and out. This can look good. It depends on how you like. My personal opinion, I like paints. Now that we have a roof on, we haven't done the roof, but we can see that these lights that we put in earlier work quite well. I would recommend stairs downstairs. Now for your roof. There's a few styles to pick from, quite a few. And you can kind of choose whatever you want, for the most part. It has to fit the style of your build. For what I've built today, the idea that I kind of want is more traditional to European houses or American ones, where you have your slanted roof in a triangular-ish shape. What I would recommend you to do is to go online and find something you want. Something you like, something you enjoy to see. Because if you don't enjoy, find inspiration among realism. It makes it look nicer. For the most part, start your roof one block offset from the base, from your home. One block offset to the left and right, and one block offset to forward. This gives it a much nicer look. Now, before we fully pull this in, we don't want it just to be wood. Don't want it to be just the logs. A great idea that I've done in my survival series was to do copper, assortment of various copper. I'll show you that now. If we look at it from the side, it complements generally quite well. You get the secondary tone, and you get the main tone. So you come from the front, and look at it. It makes sense. It fits in. Now for this, we don't need it to be just copper. We can have assortment of different items. Assortment of different colors. It can be purple, pink, whatever you want. Green, blue. Just go to your colored options. Pick anything you want. Of course, it does have to match a little bit with what you're trying to build. You can't just go out and pick yellow glazed terracotta. Actually, technically, you can. You can just take yellow glazed terracotta and pull it outwards. Now, let's say I chose this color of purple. That looks bland, doesn't it? Well, do the exact same thing you've done with the other layers. Texture it. Don't make it look bland. Don't make it look boring. Don't make it look stupid. Now, if we look at this looks much better. It pops, it shines. It may look a little dull, but if we take into account, look at compared to the house. It looks like it belongs. And if we raise this one more, like that, it looks like it should be there. It's that messy color, the pattern that is not a pattern. It makes it defined, it makes it look like you're trying. It's such a simple trick that people tend to miss. They make their houses bland, they make it pointless. And with that, the roof is done. Now, does it look? It looks good. It looks stellar. It looks a little bland on the top, but it works. Now, when you do your roof, it can sometimes mess up. You sometimes have that place, but don't fear being weird. Like, look at this. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't look right. At the beginning it didn't, but I was able to create this, which I think looks pretty sick. And it makes sense. It doesn't have to be strictly following you don't have to follow the blueprint down here. Now, I will say the roof looks a little bland. Here's where we spice things up. Amethyst. Now, what does it do? It takes this boring, plain, bland. It adds that texture into the building that wasn't there before. We go from boring, bland, yuck, to actual having a pop, a texture, something in there. And then on these things, on the windows, well, technically they're windows, roof windows, we put in an inner layer to cover up this. Or else it just pokes out and looks kinda weird. Pretty cringe if you ask me. Now that I've done all that, we add the glass panes back in. What I did forget to mention is none of your roofs have to be pointy. This one's flat, that one's pointy, this one's different, that one's slanted. None of your roofs have to point in a certain direction. It just has to look unique and look like it's part of its style. If it looks out of place, just change it. Now, do your doorway however you want. You can change it from that, have that closed, and have a doorway up here. Do whatever you want. I don't want you to follow this video as a tutorial straight on. It's just rules. The rules are simple. Make a base, pattern it, make it tall, second floor, make it different from the base, make it contrast, make it pop out, put windows where you can, and with your roof, it doesn't matter. You can have a two-tone, you can have anything, just make it fit the style. That's it. There's nothing else that really matters in this at all. You fit the style, you're doing great. That's it. You just follow style. And most of all, do it yourself. Don't follow these tutorials on how to build this house. Where's the creativity? Put some creativity into what you built. That's all. Hope this helped. Have a great evening. Day, night, whatever.